Let me ask you something personal. When was the last time you opened your electricity bill and actually smiled? I'm guessing never, because every single summer, the same thing happens. The heat gets unbearable, you turn on the AC, you survive the month, and then that bill arrives like a punch to the face. And you just sit there, staring at that number, wondering if staying cool is actually worth it. Here's what nobody tells you. You've been paying for a system that was literally designed to keep you dependent on it. Air conditioning companies, electricity providers, they are not losing sleep over your bills. But today, everything changes, because I'm going to show you a device so simple, so cheap, and so effective that once you see it working with your own eyes, you're going to be genuinely angry that nobody showed you this sooner. We're talking about $2, not 200, not 20, $2. And before you think this is some weak little trick that gives you a tiny breeze, stick with me, because at the 5-minute mark, I'm going to show you one specific modification that takes this from interesting to unbelievably cold. Most people who try this version skip that step. Don't be one of them. So let's start with the truth about your air conditioner. The average window AC unit consumes between 900 and 1,440 watts of electricity every single hour. Run it for 8 hours a day, and you're burning through more power than most of your other appliances combined. That's not cooling your room, that's burning money while you sleep. And the worst part? You don't even need it. Not if you understand one simple principle that's been around for thousands of years. The ancient Egyptians, yes, thousands of years before electricity existed, used to hang wet reeds in their windows. When the desert wind blew through those wet reeds, the air that came out the other side was noticeably cooler. They didn't have science to explain it. They just knew it worked. What they were accidentally discovering is what we now call evaporative cooling. When water changes from liquid to vapor, it absorbs heat from the surrounding air. It literally pulls warmth out of the air around it. That process is the engine behind what we're building today, except we're going to supercharge it with a trick the Egyptians definitely didn't have. Here's everything you need. A basic desk fan, the cheap kind you find at any thrift store or dollar shop. 2 or 3 plastic bottles, the 1.5-liter size is perfect. Water. A freezer. And one secret ingredient that I'll get to in just a moment, because that ingredient is what separates a good result from a jaw-dropping one. That's it. No tools. No wiring. No YouTube tutorials halfway through telling you that you actually need a drill and a soldering iron. This is genuinely simple. Step 1. Prepare your ice bottles. Fill your plastic bottles about 85% full with water. Leave that space at the top because water expands as it freezes, and a cracked bottle is just a mess you don't want to deal with. Now, here's your first upgrade. Before you seal those bottles, add 1 tablespoon of salt to the water and shake it up. Salt water freezes at a lower temperature than regular water, which means once it's frozen, it stays colder for longer. You're basically building a slow-release cold pack. Seal the caps tight and put them in the freezer. Give them at least 5 to 6 hours. Overnight is even better. You want them completely solidly frozen, not slushy, not halfway, completely frozen. Step 2, build your setup. Take your desk fan and place it on a table or a raised surface, roughly at chest height when you're sitting down. Now take your frozen bottles and position them directly at the back of the fan, the intake side, where the fan pulls air in. You want those bottles standing upright, leaning slightly against the fan grill if possible. What's happening here is every cubic inch of warm room air that the fan sucks in has to pass directly over that frozen surface before it gets pushed out toward you. The air goes in warm, it comes out cold. It's that straightforward. Step 3, seal your space. Close the door. Close the windows on the side of the room where hot air comes in. I know the instinct is to open everything up when it's hot, but if the air outside is hotter than inside, you're just inviting the heat to a party you're trying to cancel. Seal the room, let the cold air build up, and within 15 minutes, you will feel the difference. Now, the moment I promised you, the modification that changes everything. Most people stop at step 3 and get decent results. Maybe 3 or 4 degrees cooler near the fan. That's fine. But here's what takes it further. Take a damp towel, not soaking wet, just wrung out and moist, and drape it loosely over the frozen bottles. Not blocking the fan, just draped over the bottles themselves. What this does is add an evaporative layer on top of the conductive cooling layer. You're now getting 2 cooling effects simultaneously. The fan air is cooling over the frozen surface and picking up evaporated moisture from the damp towel, which triggers that evaporative cooling reaction we talked about. People who have tested both setups, with and without the towel, consistently report the towel version, feels 3 to 5 degrees colder at close range. 3 to 5 degrees is the difference between uncomfortable and genuinely refreshing. One more positioning tip that almost nobody mentions. Angle your fan slightly downward, just a few degrees toward the floor. Cold air is physically heavier than warm air. It sinks. If you aim the fan straight ahead, the cold air drops before it reaches you. Aim it slightly downward, and it travels along the floor, spreads out across the room, and rises gradually, creating a natural circulation loop that cools the entire space, not just the front of the fan. This one angle adjustment, I promise you, makes the whole room feel different. Rotation is your best friend. One set of bottles will give you strong cooling for about 45 minutes to an hour, so freeze 2 or 3 sets at once. While one set is working in front of the fan, the others are back in the freezer recharging. You rotate them out like shifts, and you get continuous cold air for as many hours as you need. The total electricity cost of running a small desk fan for 8 hours? Roughly the same as charging your phone twice. Compare that to your ACT bill and try not to feel a little cheated. Here is the real test. Tonight, set up 2 bottles in your freezer before you go to sleep. Tomorrow afternoon, when the heat peaks, and you know exactly what time that is in your house, build this setup, close the room, run it for 20 minutes, and just notice. Notice how the air feels. Notice whether you reach for the ACT remote. Notice the temperature near where you're sitting. Then come down to the comments and tell me what happened. Tell me your temperature drop. Tell me if you used the damp towel trick. Tell me if your family thought you were crazy until the cold air hit them. I read every single comment on this channel, and I want to hear your results. If you're new here and this kind of content speaks to you, real solutions, real savings, no fluff, then subscribe right now. Hit the bell. Because next week I'm covering another household hack that could cut a completely different bill by almost half, and I don't want you to miss it. You just built an air conditioner for $2. What else are you capable of? Let's find out together.